Yes, you may. And you can do that. Honestly, I'm fully endorsing. You could do it. You could go. You could have it just say crackers. You could have it say like you could do like Debbie Hall and then like underneath it like in parentheses it says crackers. Or if you want to go like poetic, it could be in parentheses or not parentheses. I'm just going with yours right now. Both are acceptable. I've started watching Clone Wars and I'm cooked. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Well, I could see where some people just don't care for it. I'm like finding out all kinds of because it's canon, so I'm finding out all kinds of like backstory, side stories, different. It's like what? It's cool. No, it's just Lucasfilm. He just created. He just created. Well, but it's still canon. It's a story. Oh, I thought I heard that they're actually thinking about starting Clone Wars up again. We'll see. Hey guys, just so you know, I'm intentionally waiting a few extra minutes because we invited other leaders and other portions of leaders from across the church to tonight. So just in case people are kind of running late from work, just so you know, that's why we're not starting just yet. Holly D, how you doing? I can feel your danger anointing back there. I mean, I don't. There's a reason I don't enter that sound booth very often because I feel like I'll be overcome with the sheer danger of that moment. Holly, you running sound back there? Okay. It's not going to work out for you. Oh, nice. Because the M and the C. Yeah. Right. I could see why you'd make that error. Balance okay, or do you need to hear some more? Do you need to hear some like louder stuff? A little bit? Okay. And I believe you are the way, the truth, and the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, and the life. I believe you are. Is that good? Okay. All right. Hello, friends. I'm well. I'm doing good. Got to check out a new cafe today. Anybody been to the Downtown Grind yet in Elmira? Yeah, no, it's really good. So good. No, well, they do coffee. They do coffee and specialty coffees, all that kind of stuff. But I was actually more drawn to their food menu. So highly recommend. Cozy little place on North Main Street. It's good. Check it out. They've been around for about 2 months. North Main, right there. Right there, just like around the corner from Turtle Leaf, really. I think. I always forget which streets are which, but I should say, actually, easiest thing is literally a stone's throw from First Arena. It's right down the block. I don't know where theirs is. I thought Barb's was up. I thought Barb's was up on College Ave. Yeah, I think McClure's is up there. Yeah. So, in case you didn't catch the board on your way in, tonight's a really fun special night. I'm going to talk a little bit more after we're done getting our praise on. Turn to your neighbor and say, it's time to get your praise on. And then, but we're going to have some great training tonight, some kind of framing of some vision stuff and leadership and all kinds of good stuff going forward. But we're going to start with some praise. Are we online yet? Are we live streaming? Awesome. Phoenix, hello. Good to see you. Good to feel you. Good to hear you. So I hope you guys are blessed by tonight as well. And we send our love to Apostle Joe. We heard, he's working through some health stuff. So we release healing blessing and divine health over you guys up there tonight. So yeah, let's stand up. Couple things on the night. Number one, Ryan Legidal, our bursar, might be tapping people on the shoulder just to have quick check-in conversations on where you guys are at in your tuition plan. So if he does that at any point in the night, don't worry, you're not being sent to the principal's office. He's just checking in for communication, seeing where people are at, and making sure plans are in place. Second, I want to actually kind of like take one of the elements of our praise and kind of what we bring to the table when it comes to corporate praise up a notch. I'm intentionally not having lyrics on the screen. A lot of the songs we'll be doing, like you already know, but in the event that you don't know, can I ask you a question? It's kind of rhetorical, but go ahead and answer anyway. If you don't know what lyrics to sing in a song next, does that mean praise stops? No. Who said yes? Yeah. Pretty sure it was a male voice I heard there, Jeff. So Jeff's going to go to the back of the room. There's a dunce cap waiting for you, Jeff. I'm just kidding. But sometimes we end up having inconvenience arrest our worship. And I think it's really important to begin to cultivate worship because he's worthy. And so whether or not we show up and there's words on a screen, or we show up and there's a band, or we show up and there's the right lighting or the right temperature or the right mood, that like because he's worthy. Like we worship because he's worthy, not because we feel a certain way or certain circumstances are there. So I want to encourage you, if we get into a spot tonight where I'm singing a lyric you don't know, then sing something else. Like sing whatever's on your heart. If we get to a spot tonight where I stop singing, don't stop praising. You can pray, you can release sounds into the atmosphere, you can sing your own song. It doesn't matter. And I'll tell you right now, our worship leaders on Sunday mornings and Sunday evenings, we're not going to be offended if we come off the mic and you keep singing. In fact, that jazzes us up because that means people are actually leading themselves in worship and really going, and they're not waiting on us to prompt everything. Yes, he hides right here. All right. So let's, in about 30 minutes, we'll come up for air and we'll see where we're at. You deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise forever and ever we'll sing. 'Cause you deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise forever and ever and saints, we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised. You will be praised. With angels and saints, we sing worthy are you, Lord. We sing worthy are you, Lord. Your love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain, beyond the horizon, oh, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, and faithful you will be, and you pledge yourself to me, and it's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips. You father the orphan, and your kindness makes us whole, and you shoulder our weakness as your strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, and you're clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes, for you will have your bride, free of all her guilt and rid of all her shame, known by her true name. Oh, it's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, will ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. 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 Oh, worthy are you, Lord. You are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all. And from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You are worthy, you are worthy, you are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all. From you are all things, to you are all things. You deserve the glory.
and chains have been broken, blind eyes have been opened, an army of dry bones is starting to rise. Death is defeated, and we are victorious, for you are alive. To our God we lift up one voice, to our God we lift up one song, to our God we lift up one voice, singing hallelujah. To our God we lift up one voice, to our God we lift up one song, to our God we lift up one voice, singing hallelujah. To our God we lift up one voice, to our God we lift up one song, to our God we lift up one voice, singing hallelujah. To our God we lift up one voice, to our God we lift up one song, to our God we lift up one voice. Lift up one voice. Your people lift up one voice. Your people, they lift up one voice. Oh, your people, they lift up one voice. Your people, they lift up one voice. And make your praise glorious, glorious, glorious. For your name is glorious, glorious, glorious. For your name is glorious, glorious, glorious. It's your name that's glorious, glorious, so glorious. We believe you are the way, the truth, the life. We believe you are the way, the truth, and the life. I've settled it. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. Oh, I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are. Oh, I believe you are. Oh, I believe you are. Oh, I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come to, because they can't stay long when I'm here with you. that's white, a love that's sweet. And help me, Lord, to never keep it to myself. And if my heart should dimly burn, and if my feet should fail to run, call my name and I will come right back to you. 'Cause there's no fear in love. There's no fear, no matter how much I argue. There's no fear in love. There's no fear in love. So stir in me a love that's deep, a love that's wide, a love that's sweet. Help me, Lord, to never keep it to myself. And if my heart should dimly burn, if my feet should fail to run, call my name and I will come right back to you. 'Cause there's no fear in love. There's no fear in love. I wanna stay close to you. It's really that simple. I wanna stay close to you, just as simple as this song. I wanna stay close to you. It's really that simple. I wanna stay close to you my whole life long. Unrestrained, your love is wild. Your love is wild for me. It isn't shy, it's unashamed. Your love is proud to be seen with me. Pieces. uncontrolled, uncontained. Your love is a fire burning bright for me. It's not a spark, it's not just a flame. Your love is light that all the world will see. And all the world will see. You don't give your heart in pieces. You don't hide yourself to tease us. No, you don't give your heart in pieces. Don't hide yourself to tease us. Your love's not fraction, it's not a troubled mind. It isn't anxious, it's not the restless kind. Your love's not passive, no, it's never disengaged. It's always present, it hangs on every word we say. Love keeps its promises, it keeps its word, honors what's sacred, 'cause its vows are good. Your love's not broken, it's not insecure. Your love's not selfish, your love is pure. You don't give your heart in pieces. Oh, you don't hide yourself to tease us. Open up, let the light in. 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 The bread and wine, lead me to the place, garden of your love, and open wide the gate. Oh, let your love come in like a rushing wind, saturate my heart and soul again. Let your love come in like a rushing wind, saturate my heart and soul again. Every part of me, oh God, every part of me, oh God, every part of me, oh God, oh, every part of me, oh God, come speak your words of life, take my breath away. Oh, invite me in your courts. I will not delay. Let your love come in like a rushing wind, God, it's in your praise that we discover the culture of heaven, where we discover the realm of your kingdom realities of righteousness, peace, and joy. Because it's in our spontaneous praise, it's in the erupting song from our spirit. It's the type of praise that you choose to sit enthroned upon. So be enthroned tonight, Yeshua, on our praise. Be enthroned, Holy Spirit. Be the government upon our shoulders tonight. Be enthroned on the highest place of our lives. Be enthroned on the highest place in our hearts. And even as we set our hearts tonight to understand and to stretch into this new place of leadership that you're calling us into, this new place of connectivity and transparency and authenticity, that we would go forth into it to express the full manifestation of the kingdom of heaven on earth. We seek first the kingdom. We seek first your righteousness. We're resting fully in the knowledge that as we place your kingdom as our preeminent thought and direction, that you'll meet us somewhere in the in-between as we try to figure this out with you. Holy Spirit, we ask that you go before us tonight. Let your counsel hover. We even call upon the spirit of counsel to be with us tonight. The spirit of wisdom and understanding. Thank you, Yeshua. What are you waiting for? Hug somebody. Just kidding. Hug somebody anyway, then. You guys doing good? Come on, somebody's got to be doing good. All right, Steph's doing good. Steph, I'm sitting next to you tonight. Polly, are you doing good at least? There you go. Are you drunk yet? Awesome. All right. Whew. Nice. Okay. I don't catch the logic, but I'll go with it. You make me back. You make me back. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Phoenix, are you still with us? I hope you're doing well. All right. Journey You friends, how are you guys doing tonight? All right. Thank you, Pastor Manny. Appreciate your enthusiasm. So, if you don't know, we're entering the winter months. Just in case it hasn't quite occurred to the multitude in the room. And for some of you, I can see some of your winter attire present. That's beautiful. Glad that we're shifting with the season. So I want to encourage you as we enter these winter months. And anybody catch some hail this afternoon? I got to experience just some thin hail, nice little sheet of ice, or just a little sheety action on the roads. I want to give you full permission in this season to offensively come against any form or thought of apathy that might enter into the equation. For some reason, and we could blame it on the weather if we want to, even though the excuses don't last very long before the throne of Jesus, but it's all good. We can blame it on various environments, or we can just say, oh, the culture of heaven is righteousness, peace, and joy. So if I'm not experiencing righteousness, peace, and joy in some area of my life, then I should probably go on the offensive and make sure that I'm experiencing righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit in every area. So if you catch yourself in we'll call it the Eeyore spirit. If you feel the Eeyore spirit come upon you, I'll let you know in advance that's not Holy Spirit. Although I'm sure Holy Spirit loves Eeyore, but I don't know that we'll see a lot of Eeyore in heaven, at least not the expression that we're familiar with. So feel free to go on that offensive. All right, so I want to take just a couple minutes, frame out where we are in this journey, because the substance of tonight is all about getting trained to be Connect group leaders. Some of you I know are going to say, Sean, I'm not interested in being a Connect group leader. That's okay. We're going to do it anyway. Because the nature of where we're going necessitates that every single person in the room, if you haven't already, okay, especially if you've sat under Dave King's teaching for any stretch of time, he's been chiming a particular bell in the spirit for years now that basically says if you're at this stage in your journey, you are a leader. Okay, remove the idea of position or I should say title is the word that he uses most often. Remove the idea of title equaling leader, and think of leadership, as John Maxwell put it, is influence. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm not a leader in the church because I don't have a title. I'm not the director of the Welcome Center. I'm not the leader of Connect groups. I'm not this or I'm not this or this. Forget title. As you step into calling, as you step into assignment, leadership is a natural byproduct of you moving in the things that you're called to. Because there isn't an assignment that I'm aware of in the kingdom that isn't supposed to influence other people. So by nature, every single person in the room, if you haven't already, begin to adopt the idea, I am a leader. Just say that, I am a leader. All right. So I just want to frame out a couple of elements for tonight so that we see in the overall, because you might not yet see yourself kind of in the microcosm of Connect Group leadership, but as you zoom out and you see where we are going as a church body, where Journey Center is headed in this next season, I'm hoping to kind of illustrate that we'll need you. We're going to need you. All right. So, for those of you that are going to be sticking around for any length of time. All right. All right, somebody say wineskin. All right. I'm going to try to skate through as much of this as fast as possible. What wineskin were we in the last season? If you've read Culture of Honor, I should say, if you're in second year or third year and you've read Culture of Honor, you should be able to launch this word right out into the atmosphere. Pastoral. Thank you so much. 50 points to the Burrows. All right. We were. Someone say we were. Someone say that was then. This is now. Okay. Where have we moved into? What are we kind of in? There we go. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. 50 points to the man from Corning, Bath area. I know he told me more Bath last night. All right, so someone say, that was then, this is now. Okay, so We were dead in our transgressions. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Just making sure you're still alive with me tonight. Okay. So moving from a pastoral model to an apostolic model. And so with that, back here, we had a model that was the guy. Someone say the guy. All right, so there's a guy. There's a guy, and it's typically a guy in Protestant churches, so let's just be honest. And so there's a guy, and the guy's in charge, and the guy does everything. The guy does the hospital visits, and the guy does the preaching, and the guy does the culture changing, and the guy does the evangelizing, and the guy does the prophesying, and the guy brings in other guys to do other things, but really they're just submitting to the guy, whatever the guy says. Somebody say the guy. Okay? Now, if you don't know it, and statistics have proven this out, that the guy will largely be able to get to a certain level of leadership where they might be able to minister to roughly 150 to 250 families if they're really rocking and rolling, somewhere in that zone. And really, we're talking more individuals. And you can have a major evangelistic event in Thrust, and you can pull out all the stops and have a come to Jesus party for an entire community. And what'll happen is maybe that'll jump up to 500 or 700, but within a few months or less than a year, it'll dwindle back down to that number because the guy can't actually sustain that model for very long. Can't do it because everyone in this room. Let's imagine for a second I'm the guy. How many of you can I actually have substantial relationship with where you regularly feel fed and nurtured and poured into? Not for very long. And I like you. Imagine once we enter into the equation of people that are less like, okay, no, but everybody's lovable. So we've moved from the guy, and the guy might even have a staff that does a whole bunch of stuff. So that can work too, but we're going to still hit a ceiling until we've moved into a model of leaders of leaders. And when we move into a model of leaders and leaders, this also necessitates team building. It's kind of weird to lead no one, okay? So we're not talking about just giving a whole, all right, so we got 100 people here, and now everybody has titles. Come see Debbie for your titles. They're in that packet over there. Everybody's got a new title. Everybody's director of something, even though no one is leading anything or anyone. So this necessitates teams and second years and third years. You've heard me talk about 2 Timothy 2:2. The things which you've heard and seen from me, entrust these to faithful men and women who will be able to teach others also. It's a reciprocating, or it's a multiplying pattern. So the things that you learn about leadership, you go looking for people, not just that are going to join your team or not just that are going to become a part of your particular ministry, but you are on the hunt for people that you can pour into, that you can then raise up to replace you, that you can raise up into other positions of leadership within that context. Leaders of leaders. Somebody say leaders of leaders. All right. Now, in this apostolic, we're also talking about the fivefold ministry. Somebody name me one of the aspects of the fivefold ministry. Teachers. I heard teachers. Woo! Woo for the teachers! I reject any notion of bias coming from my heart on that. Give me another one. I heard apostle. Woohoo! What else? I heard prophet, and we like happy prophets. Pastors, and that's where we're going to hang out tonight. One more. Evangelists. All my evangelists in the room said amen. Amen. Oh, there's more than just Dennis in here. Oh, I'm going to punch the ones later who didn't speak up. All right. So I want to major in for a moment on this pastoral lens because we've talked about some of these other things, but it's important. I wanted to lay this out first so that we know we are in a progression. We're in a movement, and I wouldn't say that we've totally arrived yet. I would say we're not really here anymore, but I wouldn't say that we're really fully here yet either. Okay, some of this stuff is still in transition, even though we've made some considerable steps in the right direction. All right, now this gets really clearly understood when we take a look at the book of Acts. Day of Pentecost. Woo! Revival! All right, so we've got a very exciting moment that happens on the day of Pentecost. So they're all with one accord. They've been praying for 10 days. It's exciting. I mean, they're just listening to the last thing Jesus said, and he's like, Terry. He's like, wait and pray. And something's going to happen, and the Holy Ghost is going to show up, and we'll just see. He gave them no grid for like tongues of fire, sound of a mighty rushing wind. All of you are going to be speaking in languages you've never spoken before in your life. But you're going to, and it's just going to be exciting. Because they're all like, aren't these all Galileans? They're like podunk. Aren't they all from Horseheads? How are they speaking Nigerian dialects? Okay. So, day of Pentecost happens. Holy Spirit pours out. And we see Peter get up and preach. And 3,000 people get saved. So, if we're still in the guy concept, then we're thinking, oh, that's what we got to do. We got to get a really anointed guy or girl. Who can get up and preach a really anointed sermon and get a whole mess of people saved, and then we've got revival. Not so much. Because the only one who can be the guy is Jesus. So we've got to replace Peter with Jesus, and so now Jesus is back here. Ever say, hi, Jesus? And Jesus is looking forward to a day where 3,000 people are going to get saved. Because back here, Jesus didn't do a whole lot of pastoral ministry. Yes, he did. He was the good shepherd. He even said, I'm the good shepherd. Yes, it's true in his heart, but the core of his assignment while he was here was apostolic. Yes, we could have that debate later. It's okay. I'm just going to hit a couple points. I'm going to keep going because I want to make sure we get to our training. So what happened was Jesus spent the most of his time pouring into 12 dudes who also happened to be apostles. And now, something really fun happens, and we kind of sometimes miss this part. In the in-between, Jesus spends 3 years with these guys, and he's like, how much longer must I spend with you? But he gets them to a point where it's like, okay, this is going to work out if I pass this baton. And then we've got how many people in the upper room praying when the Holy Ghost falls? 120! So if we're going from a concept from the guy to an apostolic and leaders of leaders where we've got teams and we've got fivefold ministers and we've got 12 apostles, what do you think these guys are doing? Because one person, and he's gone, but let's just say like this was still Peter. Peter's not going to be able to disciple 3,000. Even the 12 apostles aren't going to be able to disciple 3,000. Because now we're talking, back here, this is like a 1 to 250 ratio. Remember what I said before? That doesn't last very long. But 120 who are there, we've now got a 1 to 25 ratio. Hello, fivefold pastors. Now we've got a model. We've actually got a net that we can work with. So let's fast forward a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean to the year 2019. So Jesus actually didn't spend a whole ton of time in the pastoral role. Now, Scripture would say things like he had compassion on them, like watching them as like a sheep without a shepherd. He's got that compassion. He's yearning for this to get set up. He wants to set up his church. Now, you and I are making room. Did you know that we're building a building? We're making room for 1,000. Do the math, folks. If a 1 to 25 ratio of pastors to, we'll call them incomers. At 1,000, how many of this variety, this echelon of leaders are we going to need in order to contain what God wants to pour out? Oh, hey, somebody took advanced math. All right. We're going to need 40. Somebody say, that could be me. Turn to your neighbor and say, that could be you. So, Pastor Manny, how many people currently on the pastoral team? 12. We're going to say 12 because it's an apostolic number. We're just going to go with it. So, if we're going to be able to pastor 1,000 people, I'm just going to work this out because I really need us to see where we might fit in this context. How many more
pastors are we going to need on Manny's pastoral team? At least 28. All right? So, we've got that number to work with. Now, let's take this one step further. A typical connect group. Now, Chakuti's going to talk a little bit more about this, but a typical connect group, usually, now I'm talking average high-end connect group is about how many people? About 10. Average high-end. Okay, you can probably go as small as 6. So I've seen some go as much as 12. I know Spencer's weirdo, they'll go like 30, 40 if they want to. But typical. So, calculus time. How many Journey Life Group leaders are we going to need if we've got 1,000 individuals that need a place to connect? Whoa! Turn to your neighbor and say, that could be you. All right. Is anyone seeing where I'm getting with this? Okay? Guys, you're not supposed to be seat sitters. You're not a warm tush. Okay? I know we have 2 warm tushes, but like those are the only 2 that we have. Okay? You're not meant to be a warm tush. Many of you, if not all of you, in this season, I'm going to invite you to consider that many or all of you are actually called to be in one of those 2 camps. Well, that's not really what I'm called to. I get it. I get it. We all have a diversity of assignments. I'm not talking about you exchanging what God has called you to in the ultimate as your end game for one of these 2 assignments. What I am asking you to consider is this, because one of the things I've discovered in my life is this thing. Holy Spirit is masterful at giving you vision for where you're headed, and then he'll give you, in a season, a different assignment that looks nothing like it to prepare you with all of the skills that you need for your eventual end game assignment. He's masterful. I mean, he's masterful. It's enough that, like, he talks to you, and he talks to you, and he talks to you, and he talks to you. But, like, the fact that he talks to all of us at the exact same time about all of our various lives, and then he uses us relationally, he uses the ministries we're involved in, he uses the assignments that we have in this season to prepare for our ultimate assignments later. It's ridiculous. Like, if you meditate on that for a little while, your brain will hurt because of how extraordinary he is. And so that's why I want to invite you, as Chakuti's talking tonight, and man, if you want to add anything to this before we transition, I want to just invite you to consider. I put this challenge before our worship community too last summer, because as we move into a new spot, when we hit that new building, I hope by the time our feet are entering that facility, you're not coming in thinking, I'm here to sit in a chair today. I really hope that's not the case. Like, I really hope, like, once we're hitting that concrete, we're coming in with a, man, who am I going to touch today? Like, who am I going to pour into today? Who am I going to connect with today? Whose life is going to get changed today because of a word that I got this morning, or the dream I had last night about this face I was going to see that I've never seen before, and like, boom, now we've got a new connect. Like, that's the new mindset. It's not like, you guys aren't glorified lay people. Like, I even hate the term lay people, the laity. You know, like, in a kingdom model, like, when you get a chance, for those of you that need to read another book, Barry's book on mission-minded leaders is awesome. And the Antioch church model is everybody was apostolic. Everybody was pastoral. Everybody could move and flow in each of those streams and gift sets because they'd just been charged to, and they'd been equipped to do that. Someone say, I'm going to do that. Okay, cool. Manny, come add something to this. If you guys don't know, Manny's going to come up. And Manny, don't think, when you hear Pastor Manny, don't think this. Don't think dead in our transgressions, okay? Don't think the old, okay? Manny is our seated pastor within this 5-fold wineskin, and he's leading a team of pastors. Completely different model. Completely different model. Come on, add something to that, and then we'll get Chakudi up here.
All right. Sounds good. you. Hi. Hi, Syracuse, Phoenix. How are you guys? Good, good, good. So, to speak to what Sean spoke to about the guy, one of the things about switching from pastoral to apostolic model is we have to let the guy go. You know what I'm saying? We still have guys, whether we want to acknowledge the fact that we have guys or not. The fact is that there are people who still want to spend time with the guy, and they won't spend time with anyone else because they have to have the guy. Okay? So it goes two ways. The guy has to release other people, and the people have to release the guy, right? So this process has everything to do with our willingness to realize I can receive from other people. If I have to, in our vernacular, if I have to have time with Dave or Scott or Sean, for instance, and they're the only people that I receive from, right? It's a mentality, is it not? I not only limit them, but I limit myself too, because I limit to who I receive from. And how important is it that we don't do that? So what I know is when people show up in the Spencer Life Group, whatever you call it, Connect Group? Yeah. Yeah, we haven't landed on it. We'll get there. I guarantee they get ministered to. I guarantee that I don't know everyone who goes to that group, and they don't know me. Probably I wouldn't know everybody's name if I walked in that room, right? They might know mine a little more. That's the difficulty of being a public person, is that people know you, and they want to get to know you closer. But the hard part is walking through a crowd and not knowing everyone's name, and they say hi to you by name. That's difficult for me personally. I like to be able to say, and so I'm not unwilling to say, hi, what's your name again? I'm really sorry, and talk to you. Let's talk. So I can only relate to so many people and meet so many people. So that's important. I wanted to just underline that for just a moment. I'm going to jump really quick to a passage, Luke 15. If you could go there for just a minute or two. Luke 15. You can go there. Luke 15 is all about, not about the pastoral model per se. It's about shepherding, though. It's the passage about the 100. The 100 sheep. We call it the passage about the 99, but it's really about the 100. And I want to read it from the Passion Translation. Verse 4, okay, are you there? Okay, I'm going to read verse 4. There was once a shepherd with 100 lambs, but one of his lambs wandered away and was lost. Underline that. So the shepherd left the 99 lambs out in the open field and searched in the wilderness for that one lost lamb. He didn't stop until he finally found it. With exuberant joy, he raised it up and placed it on his shoulders, carrying it back with cheerful delight. He returned home, and returning home, he called all his friends and neighbors together and said, "Let's have a party. Come and celebrate with me the return of my lost lamb. It wandered away, but I have found it and brought it home." Now, this speaks to something that we will need to grow in as a fellowship, and that is, do I care that much about one person? Or is it like, well, there's still 99 here. We're good. And the difficulty is that we can be busied by saying, wow, we got a good group here. I'd like to ask you the question from the school tonight, who's missing? Syracuse, who's missing from your gathering there? Do you know? All right? What do we do about it? Well, not my responsibility. It's Sean's. It's the what do we call them? The revival group leaders. Thank you. Revival group leaders' responsibility. My response is no. That's not accurate for us. We all have to shift into a new model. And that is, I am my brother's keeper. I am responsible. If I see that one is gone, then I need to do something about it. Now I'm going to show you something really simple. I'm not going to be able to show it to you directly, but I'll show it to you just quickly. Camera probably can't see it, and it's good that you don't get the detail. But here's a sheet that is what I use in my job. All right, I have 45 clients approximately. I also facilitate four therapy groups, which is another, I don't know, 50 people. So let's say that group I'm responsible in some measure for. And what I have in front of me right now is a sheet. I know everybody's name. I have their phone number on here, their birthday, what day they started, the last time I met with them. If they didn't show up, I know they didn't show up, and the date is there. If they called me and said they weren't going to show up, I can tell that from the sheet. They actually said, the next appointment I'm going to have with them is on here, and what's the next action I need in my relationship with them? And a bunch of other stuff across this thing. So, if Jesus is counting, we should too. If it's true that 99 are important and the one is of equal value, what value do we place on the one? And what I'm saying is he seemed to place higher value on the one that was gone than the 99 that were there, because he left them in the open field in order to rescue the one. So what shepherd leaves the lambs in the open field to go find a wandering sheep? And that, I would say, that's a person who loves and who let's see, 96, 97, 98, 99, 96, 97, 98. Right? And he was like, drop everything. Let's go after the one. I don't think we have the same veracity. Ferociousness? Veracity is not the right. Is that right? We don't have that to the degree I would like to see. I'm not saying everybody doesn't have it. I'm simply saying we as a church, that's a temperature gauge that we can raise. And that means every one of us. And one of the things that our goal is, and Chikudi, I'm just going to take one more minute. One of our goals is to realize that passion drives ministry, right? And my primary passion needs to be for people, and as a pastor, that's my heart, right? And to equip people to help other people. And what I know is that Jesus, last thing I'm going to say, Jesus saw value in that one that was missing as much as he saw value in the 99 who were there. He recognized that that one could reproduce after its kind, and that's a lot of reproduction over time, over a generation. And so to realize that the fact is he cares. And so if he's after them, what level of accountability should we have, for the people around us? So God, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to sow into this school just a bit. And ask for your blessing on each person. I thank you. You've given everyone a heart to care for other people, and I anticipate you're going to grow the ministry of life groups, care groups, whatever they're called, in Jesus' name. Yeah, thank you.
Come on, let's give it up for Manny. Woo! All right, so I need a couple volunteers. Awesome. I need one more. Don't everybody jump at once. All right, thanks, Carrie. Awesome. Let's just get one out to each folk. So coming around to you is a Journey Life group, Connect group, small group, cell group, care group packets. So specifically, we use these as training manuals for each of us, and want to make sure. Just kind of keep asking yourself the question: where am I going to fit? Where am I called to in the momentum of Journey Center as we kind of move forward in this leader of leaders thing? Where are my gift sets best going to be utilized as we move forward and create more atmospheres for people to come in, genuinely connect, and satisfy that hunger to know and to be known. So if you guys don't know, we already talked about Manny is our leader of the pastoral team as the seated pastor, but on that team is Chikudi Okoro. Did I pronounce that right? All right. So he's going to come. Chikudi has the very formidable job of overseeing all of the Connect and life groups that are going to be happening at Journey Center. So come on, let's get loud for Chikudi as he comes up. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I need that hug. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for having me today. Hello, Syracuse. I think I'm going to start today by using the board. And okay, I will erase it. Because I want to start from what I think is the most basic. That's my name. Okay, I don't know. Where's the black? Where's the black?
You can keep writing.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Sorry, it's gonna bug me.
Yeah, I want to change. Can I have that? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, who could leave this last one? So my name is Chukwudi Okoro, and I wanted to write it up so that you get to know a little bit more about the name. This name means in English, there is God. So this first letters, this is like two words together. So Chukwu is God, and De is to be, there is. So it tells you there is God. So, and by the way, please, I know we live in a politically correct environment. If you, I don't have a problem with anyone not pronouncing my names correctly, because I don't also pronounce people's names correctly too. So, and I forget names very easily. So if you forget mine, I don't have a problem with that. So, but my name is Chukwudi Okoro, and so what we do, my wife's name is Choma also. So Choma means the good God, is like an exclamation. And my first daughter's name is, full name is Chinonyerem, which means Emmanuel, but it's personalized. God is with me. So the short form of it is Nonye. My second daughter's name is Chinecherem, which means God plans for me. We call her Chini. And the last one is Chiwugom, who we call Ugom, which means God is my pride or God is my glory. So we try to stick to what works. So, so I just wanted to just put that out. Maybe also a good way to start off. So, all right. So thank you for having me, and it's been a joy being part of this house for the last almost 2 years now. We moved into this area in October 24th. Yes, exactly on October 24th, 2016. And it took us about 4 or 5 months to find a church because we had to visit about 5 churches. And this is home for us. I'm, by the way, thank you for having us. And we love it here. Of course, we do. Who wouldn't? And so, so it's been a joy. I think I will start by just a bit also talking about who, personal introduction, my journey a little bit. I think I find it very interesting just how God uses our story to build his plan and to work things out and to, somehow infuse into your story his purpose and plan. And my story is different from yours, and all that. So it's all different. So I have a family of 5. The 5 of us were all born in different cities. All the 5 of us. The 5 of us were born in 4 countries. The 5 of us were born in 3 continents. So. But there is something that leads to something that led to something. So, so the only 2 that were born in the same country were born in the U.S. But I am, I'm Nigerian. So based on that, I could mention the countries later on. But why was this journey of moving from one place to the other? So after my first degree, I had to go abroad to do my master's degree and PhD. And so obviously some kids were born during the process. But really, I think not too long ago, I was just washing dishes and I just started laughing at myself. I was laughing at myself was because I just looked at my journey and I didn't even could understand how I got to where I am. And because you could just see how God connects all the dots in your life. And which is pretty amazing. It's not like, oh, I decided to go here. No, there are dots. This would not happen if not this other one happened. And you could just see how those dots are all connected. And that's what God does in our lives. And I see it over and over again. You know, that's the things that you've gone through in life. You know, some of them are like pockets, but the way He puts them all together now to make something out of it is like, whoa, you didn't see that coming. And so that's just a bit of that. So based on that, for us, for me, much more is that anywhere I've traveled to, two things that are important to me. So for more than half of my life, I've not been close to family. Most of my life, I've not been close to family. So due to different things, obviously, school-related, traveling abroad. So we stayed in Europe for 8 years, 7 years rather. I was in Europe for 7 years to do my master's program and PhD before coming over here. So everywhere that we've gone to, you know, I could remember making another trip, moving from, I think it was from Sweden to Belgium. And I was on that flight, the first day going to Belgium, and I was in that flight. So, you know, one of the things that I told myself, thank you, God, that you're not like a stick I have to put in a box to go along with me, because wherever I am, you're there, because I would have lost him, you know, because I had to, you know, and then, of course, if you had to move and they tell you, oh, this is the amount of box, you know, you can't have a luggage, there's more than 2 luggages, you know. So in essence is that for me there were 2 things that are important to me is my work and church. If I had those 2, I'm good. I make it my home. And so that's always what I've always looked out for. So I don't mind being in strange places. I've been in strange places, so I'm used to that. So those are the 2 things that are important to me is I get to a place, the job that I do, the work that I do, and also church. I need to find church. Well, blessed over here that you have a choice. You could, oh, I don't like this church, I could go to this one. In Europe, you know, it's like, oh, you have this one or 2, that's it. Or then, except you want to be traveling like 1 hour, 2 hours to go to a place. So for me that has always been important is okay, the job that I have or the education school that I have, the next thing is my church, trying to build community, make that my home. And in trying to do that also was one of the things of course, as you can imagine, being in places like Sweden where rarely would you see someone like looks like me. The comfort that most people you would draw from is to see someone like you and you want the person to be your friend. But God taught me early enough is that no, I don't make decisions based on where you come from. I make decisions based on who you are in the inside. Much more, of course. If we have a blood covenant, which is the blood of Jesus Christ, that is what's more important than others. And that's really helped us to, avoid some of, getting yourself into trouble, getting yourself into, keeping your purity, your work with God, all through whatever season of life you are, whatever place we find ourselves. But you knew what was most important, and so yeah, it's a model that worked for us, and God has been good. So that's more or less a little bit of us. So again, I was living in Nigeria. From there, we lived in Sweden. Then after that, we lived in Belgium for so between the two, it was 7 years. Then we got to Maryland. We lived in Maryland for 5 years before coming over here. And for all of them, at least I could feel God's, there's always a reason why one thing happened to lead to the other. I could still remember back in Belgium, one of the times I could feel something was off in my life, but I couldn't put a finger on what it was. I just couldn't find out what it was. But it's funny that, yes, it was almost like it was for a job reason that I came to the US, but the truth is that within the first 3 months, I knew what I was missing. And what I was missing, I found out was everybody has plateaued. Nobody was seeking God more, and I've plateaued too. And I was just like every other person around me. But then that was the first time again in my life that I saw people who were passionate about God and oh, that was what I was missing. And you could see that spark go off and all that. So, and with that said, that leads me to my experience with live groups and why for me it's something I'm passionate about, and because it's been very helpful to me. So when we got to Maryland, I moved to Maryland, I think 5 months before my family moved because Choma had to finish her master's program, but I had to go because I need to start making the money. So when I moved over, we joined the church. I joined the church. It was 7,000 people in the church. So we had about 4 campuses. On a weekend, we have 4 services. 1 on Saturday evening, 3 on Sunday morning and afternoon. So it's really like a lot of people. You go in, you go out. Nobody notices that you're there. Nobody knows that. It's like easily every time 2,000 people. Nobody will know that you're there. Nobody knows that you walked in. Nobody knows that you walked out. And it was now later on someone called me and asked, it was more of the, what do you call them again in churches? Basically those who reach out. So he reached out to me and asking me, he got my name that you just came to the church. And then when we started talking, he told me he had a group in his house. Okay, I said, okay, let me go come test it out. And so he had a marriage-based live group, and I decided to come along and to see how it was. And so before I knew it, I started having a relationship with them, and I was going to a marriage live group as a single because my wife was still in Belgium then, and of course when she came over, she loved it, and so that was how I started going to a live group, and now I was able to get to know people. The church became more meaningful to me. And again, like I said, I was missing something, and I could find out that I could start growing again. And that was very important. And so I started having a sense of family, a sense of community during that time. And so in Maryland for 2 years, I was a member of a live group. For the next 3 years, I was a leader of the live group. And quite a lot of things happened. For me personally, I think one of the greatest things that has happened in my life was through a live group. And I'll talk about it a little bit more. So we had a situation. I've never really seen many people go through difficult times and still keep their heads up. And that was really one of the first times that I saw that. And I saw it in a big way. So we had the leader of the live group, his wife had cancer. Brilliant, smart lady, stage 4. And I think it was amazing for me to just be close to them and see how they worked it out. And it wasn't something I was far away from. It was something that I was there. And just to see how they walked through that very difficult moment of their lives. And frankly, that really was, it's still powerful to me. And in the midst of it, I could see, she was struggling to come to terms with that. One of the prayers, I think it was almost looking back, she passed on. One of the prayers she prayed about was, in most of the times that we come for a meeting, she says she's praying for joy, she's praying for peace. And then also I saw a husband who was there with her 24/7. In fact, he left his job just to take care of her. And by the way, he could have gotten a nurse to do that because he was okay. He could have, but he left everything just to take care of her. So I saw that arm of it, of just someone loving on the family. And, then also was the other arm of it was just how the church rallied around her. Like our life group, it was like, there's a time for like 2 months, we were the ones taking care of the family, food, making sure everything was okay. Their kids stayed with us. The 2 kids stayed with us for like almost 2 months. So I had to drop them off to school, bring them back to my house, we eat. And they lived with us for quite a while. And, but because for us, it was family. It was just family. I mean, there's no how we're connected. All of us are connected, but it was just that family sense, and everybody, I could remember when during the meal, doing things for them. For me, I was like, wow, God, I get to do this. And like, I know I've been, maybe you go for places like crusades or, big conferences, you see healing. And I've been Renal Bonke conferences. You see, people leaping up from their wheelchairs and things like that. But the aspect of love, just showing love, man, it trumps that. It's like that reality for me. It was like, wow, not just I was excited to say, wow, this is what the church should look like. And you could see everybody coming in just to chime in and to help out. How can we help? And it was genuine, I think, which is very important. It was just really, really very genuine. And you could see that going on. And so it was great. And I got later on, obviously, at the point that it was bad. They couldn't keep leading the group. And so it was passed down to us to do the lead and to lead the group. And so we led the group for another 3 years. When she died, it was for me again, it was the first time I saw death as a celebration. Really, and it was. It was the first time I did. I've never seen that. Obviously it was painful for me. I've lost a lot of relatives. I didn't cry as much as I cried for her. She's not related to me. But her funeral was like a celebration. It was. And you could just really see God's comfort and just God's presence and like, wow. And how everyone rallied around to make it a success. It's like everybody was there trying to just figure things out, get things all in place. I've never planned funeral before in my life. I attend, but but just that sense of community, that sense of togetherness, it was really very powerful, and to me, and so so through her life, I learned a lot of things, and which I thought was very important. And obviously now we were able to lead the group for another 3 years, and by God's grace, we ministered, and we also got ministered to. You saw great things happen. We had a little baby. I mean, there is a lot of it, but I could remember a friend of one of the members. It was so funny. She was pregnant. She was to have a baby. And then we know she was to have the baby in December. But in June, she posted something is it on Facebook. Oh, that the baby, welcome to the baby is here. But we knew that her sister was to have a baby too, so we thought it was her sister. Okay, because we know it's December. But she had that baby in June. And the baby was less than 1 pound. And, when we found out, we're like, everybody was like, what's going on here? And basically, the baby had to stay in the hospital. I don't know, I can't remember, but easily 3 to 4 months. And I could still remember her asking for prayers. Oh, the heartbeat of the baby, to pray about that. You could pray about that. We prayed about that. The baby's heartbeat was going on. Oh, the baby's lungs needs to develop. The baby's heart, lungs developed. Oh, the baby's ear. And you could see just how that miracle happened, just right before your eyes. And after she was 1 or thereabouts, the doctor said the baby is the same with every other baby of her age. And you just sit back and say, wow, this is God, and just see how God works. But I think for me, it is just that sense of community, look at what God just did with us in our midst. I think that's one of the things that was very important to see how God did different things that He did. This is just one of many. But at the same time, also, it's not only ministering or helping people or marriages getting better, coming together and all that, but also you receiving also from others. One of my greatest, one of the times I know I was very fearful with my kids. Obviously, we live in almost DC area in Maryland. It's crazy. It's just a crazy place. And when you have kids, the way you think changes. And I know sometimes I wake up, I was like, how am I going to help this girl live this life? I was wishing she was born when I was born, when you didn't have all the craziness, But I could remember going to one of the meetings, and we were just discussing about what was going on, and someone said something powerful to me. And frankly, for me, it relieved my fears. It was like, if God brought them into this world by this time, that means that He has already equipped them for whatever is in front of them. I'm paraphrasing, but something in that line, and that's my fear was gone. And I could trust God to take care of them and not to worry about all that. So again, it's learning from each other was very, very helpful for me. So it's not just that you are the one talking, even though you're the leader. And then also was I lost my job at a point in a month. It was even in a space of 7 days. I lost my brother. I lost my job. And unexpected. It was crushing. But it is nice to see that people care, that someone cares about you. It's not in giving stuff. It's about someone looks in their eyes and you look at them, you know they care. They don't need to say a word. You know they care. For me, those are powerful. And again, these are some of the things that in a life group setting that I learned. And so for me, life group was big. So when I got to this church, and I was like, really? It was the first thing I was looking out for. Even when I was searching out for churches, I was like, right, oh, do they have a life group? Because for me, that was what community was. And it was useful to me, and I could imagine that it should be very useful to other people. And so more or less some of that. And of course, being part of a life group, the other side of it was, we got to learn how to cook other meals also that other people cook. So what we do is that we do more like a potluck. People come over, you bring something, and oh, that's good. What's the recipe? And so now you learn to eat other things. And also my kids, the best day of the week for them is life group day. They just become ecstatic. It's like the best day ever. And for us, I like that because they see what we do. I know that when they grow up, they know they don't need to do life alone. They know that they should be able to have people they work with. They should do life with somebody. And so it's a training. It's, even though they run around and do, they know what mom and dad does. And that is also something powerful that I know that they will be able to do while they grow. So then talking about Johnny Center Live groups. So in October 2017, we launched the Johnny Center Live groups, and about 8 groups were formed. 50 people indicated interest. We formed about 8 groups. In the first 1 month, 3 of them died. And in the next 6 months, about 6 of them have already died. How many is left? 2. So today, we have 3 live groups, or 4. I don't count the rondos. The rondos, rondos. Theirs has been going on forever. So, we're talking about the ones that were formed. And so we have just about 3. Marlene has a live group. I do have one. And so for us, the one we have, it's focused on family and relationships. It's child friendly. We invite kids to come along. We bring a babysitter. We're in that stage where we have little kids, so we think also it's fun for them to have their own fun while we have our own fun, and we've gone through transition also. So we've also gone through some transition, and so I used to live in Horseheads, and we moved to Penny Post, and obviously the distance is different. So many people can't make it, especially if you're coming from PA, and now instead of a 30 minutes drive, it becomes almost like a 1-hour drive. And so we've had some transition, but now we have it coming the other way. So now we're having more people from Penny Post area coming to our group. So you see things equating, but then the demographics also change. Also, so so we're still getting, getting used to the new normal, what the new normal is for us, and so it's been exciting, and so I love live groups, and that's what we're here to talk about. And so with that, I'll just go into. Let's get going on the material now. So the first thing we're going to look at, I think I'll just read this. I prefer to call them some Bible verses, which will be like the framework of this whole thing. And I think I'll talk about them over and over again, so it might just be good for me to talk about them right away. So Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. It says, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. It says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. How can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Proverbs 27 verse 17. These are all scriptural verses that we know very well. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Acts 2:42 and 46. Acts 2. it tells you, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings and to fellowship and to sharing in meals. I think I would prefer to read this with NIV. Let me go to my NIV. Just give me 1 second. Okay, 42 and 46. Acts 2:42, it says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. And then 46 says, every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. So these will be like the verses that I would be referring back to over and over again. And this leads me to page number 3, which is purpose. So what's the purpose of a life group? Why is it necessary? So for us, we think life groups are small groups of people who experience authentic community and spiritual growth. And I think is what underlining the two components in there, authentic community and spiritual growth. I'll tell this story before I go ahead. There's a time, some years back, we're just too busy, and everybody being busy and all those. Sometimes obviously busy is, if you don't control busy is not good. So I can remember what we tried to do, myself and my wife, is spend some time to pray together and all that. And one of the times, in the evening, okay, I said, oh, let's do some devotional, let's pray. And she just asked me, then she asked me, have you even taken time to know how I'm doing? Something in that line. And we're trying to pray. Isn't that spiritual? Isn't that important to want to pray and to do spiritual stuff? But that was a question she asked me. And that was a very valid question. So then the question I have for you is, what is more important? We're trying to pray. Wasn't that very important? Or was it connecting with her? And was it connecting with her, is it more important than praying, or vice versa? If that you take one or the other, but obviously it's a rhetorical question, but you could see that she wanted a connection before she could pray, because now her prayer will be effective when she's connected to me. So connection becomes just a big piece of being able to have a good life group. Getting to know someone. Because if you don't know the person, you still spend time to do do a study book, pray, but there's not going to be any depth to it. It's going to be superficial. Because, if I don't know you well, I can't come to tell you stuff. I'm not going to tell you stuff if I don't know you well. It's until I know you well, I could say, oh, I could trust you. Then I could come to you and I could talk. And then the truth is that when you pray for me, then it's going to be powerful and effective. So our goal would be not to have another Bible study. Okay, our goal will be connection first and then spiritual growth. I was thinking about this, and I like this. The first time I heard it in church here, wow, that's good. We talk about belong, believe. If I get it wrong, please help me. And behave. So for me, I think that in this area is what you need to have this is where authentic community comes in. Connection, authenticity or connection. And also in this range is now where you have spiritual growth. So because for someone to should have a sense of belonging, and he feels that he's accepted the way he is, and that he feels that he's part of a family, then the person could be able to start believing, and until then, before he could start behaving. So this is really where spiritual growth happens. But if you don't have this component of it there, it will be difficult to jump up here. You need to have this authenticity or connection before you could have spiritual growth. So we can't jump this step to get here. And so this is where it becomes important that, relationship building, being able to, for someone to feel, okay, that you see me, kind of, that I am known, becomes very important in that aspect. So, because until the walls fall, until someone is like, okay, tells you who they are, there's no how they could be, that they could really grow spiritually. So which I think is very important for us. And of course, spiritual growth, as we see, is connection to God, connection to others, connection to a family. But authenticity is what helps you to build friendship, build a family, connection, have a sense of belonging, and also accountability. And even to talk about that, again, back from my Maryland days, I have someone that I'm accountable to, even to today. Like, we talk, if he needs something, I'm there for him. So this is also where you build accountability, and you could, like, someone could, you'd say, okay, someone could hold you onto something, and like someone's voice that you hear, like, my wife knows, okay, if Chukwud is doing something that is wrong, he knows who to talk to. Like, boom. And, I don't want to get that call either. So, but really, you need that. And so that is really very important. So, the purpose, again, is for us to be able to have the two, authenticity, and also to be able to have spiritual growth. So life groups, there's some of the characteristics. So I'm looking at joining life groups defined. And so you're looking at having 6 to 12 people. I think it's all dependent on what kind of group it is. If it's a group that involves couples, it's easy to hit that 14. It's like 7 couples. Boom, you're there. So if it's singles, then that's or something like that. Then that's a little bit different. For us, we'll prescribe, even though in the notes there you have 1 to 2 hours. I think you need at least 2 hours. You need about 2 hours, because one, you have the relationship building. By the time you finish that, 1 hour is not enough. It's just the truth. 1 hour doesn't really work. And then, meeting places, meeting homes, coffee shops, other places in the community. This is also where I think it is important for us. Meeting in homes, there's something magical about it. I think life groups shouldn't hold in church settings. It takes something away from it. There's something like there's something about the comfort of a home. Don't ask me all that. I don't understand it fully, but there is. That you feel you get into a home, you could be relaxed in a home, and that the atmosphere created is different from what you have if you go to a public place or a place where everybody goes to. And just that somebody opens that door for you, and you walk in and shuts the door and welcomes you in, there is something special about it. So it's, of course, obviously in the verses that I read, you saw in the early church, that's what they did. Come to my house. They were all to get in a house and because it's special. It's just special. I don't know all the whole thing. Somebody could figure it out and tell me. But but it's just special being in the comfort of a home and to do a live group than being in a church to do something like that. I think it weighs more. And so also what we do today is that we meet bi-weekly. So it's not every week. I think that's important to do it bi-weekly than every week, because every week is a lot. So like for us, to get the house ready for a live group, we meet on Friday evenings. It takes a lot of work. So it's good that you have the other days, your off day, you can relax. So because the thing is that I don't think it's good to have a sense, leading a live group or hosting a live group to become like a work for you. Because the moment it is, then it's bad. It should be something you're looking forward to. It should be something you're excited about. Because when it's now work, because, they're going to come again. So that alone, that takes things, those people. So this is why we think it's really very important, how get that 1 week break and you have it again. And so those are some of the things that we're doing now. And bless you. So connect groups, so turning to page 4, must have 4 of these elements: connection, time to get to know one another and share life. 2, discuss, interactive discussion based on God's word, leading to practical applications and encounter. Prayer, share prayers, and also basically there also is sharing praise reports. Engage, consider ways to serve together in the community and then serve. So connect, like what we do is we come in, the first 45 minutes is just chit-chatting and eating. So everybody brings something. And by the way, as live group leaders, it's not every time that others bring something, but you have to bring something. You should have stuff. So even if nobody brings anything, you have something for everyone to share. Just saying. So we always cook something, or someone others bring stuff, and you eat, and then we discuss, and you just get to know how is someone's day. That alone helps them to like calm down, and that connection is made. And then of course then you could go into studies, what you want to study. And then again also we do share praise reports and prayer reports. What are you thankful for? Unfortunately, I think in church generally, because obviously every time is allocated, people don't get to share what God is doing in their lives. There's no opportunity for you to say what God is doing, to encourage someone else with the awesome things that God is doing. And all of our lives, God keeps doing stuff. That could be an encouragement to somebody else. But we don't have room to do that. So for us, it's an opportunity. You have that room to be able to say, to share what you're thankful for, and also to share the prayers, acts of prayers to be prayed for, and which I think is very, very good. Also, I think as a group matures, they should be engaged in serving in one way or the other. But I personally think that should come with maturity, when everybody is connected and you feel like a unit. Then serving becomes something that you should do, and it becomes very beneficial. So Johnny Live group types. For us, I think any flavor possible is great. So you have men only live group, because men, there are some things that we deal with that are more related to us than what women deal with. Women only, the same. Married couples, focused. I think, I look at live group, I was thinking about it today. It's like the stores. You have a store. What are you going to sell in your store? Somebody might want to, for it to be groceries. Somebody else wants to, the best looking suit. Some other person wants to, it's going to be cosmetics. But I think the variety, everybody's need is different. So we can't just box things up and make it one. In your phase of life now, maybe what you need more is, you want to hang out with the girls. And that's what you need now. Maybe the next phase of your life is you want to learn more about marriage or something like that. And, be married, or maybe it's okay in a phase of your life like Marlene in the group that she has is really for, people who are broken, who want to, team up and to have healing. And so this is also where for life group leaders, you need to know what you're passionate about. And I think it's wrong when we just ask someone, okay, like you say, Merlin, go and lead a men's life group. It's wrong. You getting? It's not something she's passionate about. But she could be, what she's passionate about is what she should do. So I think it should be open-ended, really is, what are you passionate about? Because if you're passionate about something, you're going to be able to sustain it. You will be able to sustain it because some days, hey, I've had days nobody showed up in my life group. I did everything. I sent out the emails, and of late, I now send texts. Nobody showed up. The house is clean. We've done all the work, cooked all the meal. Nobody showed up. What are you going to do? If you have that 2 times, 3 times in a row, are you going to pack up? So if it is just, they told me to go and lead a life group, you may pack up. So I think the passion, being able to be passionate, do what you're passionate about, an area that you think you have passion for, I think that is important. It helps to sustain you in the long run, which is very important. So there are different kinds of life groups. Some of them could be based on life stages. Junior high, senior high, college, and all the things that are listed here. The rondos, more of the people in their life group are people of their age. And there's some things they could relate to that I can't relate with. So everybody wants to be in a place where, based on what they desire, that need could be met. And it's all good. It's all good. So I think that's very important to just know that there's variety there all of us could have. So talking about curriculum options, obviously this is where Johnny U Resources comes in. I think really that we should control the materials that are used, especially as the church grows bigger and bigger. We need to know what people are learning. So I think that is very important. So like in my group now, we're still doing Keep Your Love On, which is quite an awesome book, by the way. And so there should be materials, but the material should be vetted. If someone says they are trying to start a life group, what material do they want to use? Those materials need to be vetted because, people are involved, and to make sure that, there's no ulterior motives. There's a lot of books out there, by the way, just saying. So it needs to be vetted. Structure and rules. So some of the things here, so we talked about having a director of life groups. You talk about life group coordinator, coaches, leaders, apprentices, and members. All these structures are not all there, but I think I'll just focus on the leaders/hosts. So you can be a leader without being a host, and you could be a host without being a leader. Okay? Back in Maryland, we were leaders, we were not the hosts, because I had a 2-bedroom apartment that couldn't fit everybody in. And I had kids. We have the kids. And I was staying at the top floor. And those kids are going to be running boom, 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 boom all day long. And I'm going to have very angry neighbors. So we couldn't do that. So we had someone else. They had a bigger place. They were able to host. We were able to lead. But just a caveat, if you're to lead, that someone is hosting, just know that you're hosting in your mind, kind of. Like for us, we still had to show up very early, help to get the place ready, make sure that we cooked something to come along with, and just to make sure that some people can't lead, but they can host. And so you could lead without hosting. And so that means also that if we could find people who could host and can lead, you could lead while they host. Or maybe you don't have a big place enough. There are options, and it works. And it's fine. So don't say, oh, I don't have a big place and I can't do that. No, there is always a way around that. So number 4 is Johnny leadership, life group leadership. So the process. We haven't really fully, these are all. We haven't fully gone through this whole process. So here he talks about submitting application, attend orientation, interview with Johnny life group staff, consent to background check. Obviously signing the dotted line. Some of these things, obviously the bigger the church is, the more you're going to go through the formal way of doing things. But I think things like this is a training, having an orientation is important. Being able to, you want to lead a live group, and we should talk to you and know, does someone know who you are? And these are all valid things. And of course, also, especially when the church becomes bigger and all that, things like background check has to be done. I mean, we are putting people in your hands, in your house. It's a big deal. So it's a big deal. So those become important. But also one of the things going forward, which we've started already, is, for you to lead a live group, it would be good for you to see the ones that are going on now, how they work. Paying visit to like the model groups, and you at least for you to see, what does it take? What is done here? And because that gives you more of a practical thing. And basically it would be good for us to be able to replicate the same thing across what works, by the way, across. And of course you put your spin on it. But what is the backbone like? And then based on that, now you could be able to go ahead to, based on what you're hearing and your passion, be able to like tweak it to what you need. But what we propose, at least you should be able to come to the live groups and see how they run, and then so you have a good idea of what is expected. Qualification, leader qualifications. So there's quite a lot of things. One, I'm still on page 5. Guess that's flipping page. Qualifications, have a personal encounter and relationship with Jesus Christ. That is obviously fundamental. Be a member of Johnny Center. I think always you have, like in my old church, I know there was a group that was formed. This is where it's important for the church to know what is under them. Groups can be formed outside of church. The church can be responsible for that. But the groups that are called Johnny Center churches, they should have affiliation to us here. And because if things, this is life. I mean, we're talking about human beings, and sometimes things don't go well. I've seen that happen. If it's not under Johnny Center, then the church can come in, can get involved. So those are the kind of things. So obviously the person should be a member of the Johnny Center. And of course you should have an all-in attitude. I'm here for it. It's not after 2 weeks, nobody showed up in your live group and you say, I quit. We want people that want to really like see it through. Ability and willingness to make a minimum of 12 months commitment. So really, it's okay. This 1 year, I'm gonna try it out. I added other things that I'm gonna have a point 2 version of this thing. So because I've added a lot of things. So you should have a heart for people. It should be your passion that you care about people. You are passionate about building community building. And for me, the big thing here is that you're authentic, Having a live group that is authentic starts with you. That you are willing to remove your own mask. If you want people to take out their masks, yours has to come down first before theirs. Because if not, it's not going to happen. So this is where now, vulnerability, you want to be vulnerable. If you're not, nobody will. Bottom line. In Maryland, I told you there's a time I lost my job, and as a man, it's tough, especially when it has nothing to do with you. It just happened. It's difficult, and for you to tell people that you lost your job, it's not very easy. It's tough, and I'm leading a group, and I tell them that I lost my job. I know somebody, I didn't even know he lost his job. He never told anybody. For quite a long time until he told me, I was like, at least we would have prayed for you. So I lost my job for a while, and but again, I could remember later one of the ladies, one day she walked up to me in my life group, and she was crying. I was asking her why she was crying. She said, like, look at you. You've lost your job. You have a family. You've lost a job for almost like, I didn't have a job for 7 months, by the way. It's like, but look at how you're doing. Look at, you're taking this very well, and look at how you're keeping up. And like she lost her job, she almost killed herself. She was crying. It's like, but look at you with all that you have, all going around you, but you could still smile, and that you have your heads up. I know that if she goes through a difficult time in her life, she somehow has an example that she knows that, there's a better way to go through a problem. What if I didn't tell anybody that I lost my job? Would she have gotten that encouragement? She wouldn't. I just said dismiss 2 times and it's still ringing. So really, what if I didn't open up? She wouldn't have gotten encouraged. She wouldn't, So this is where is one of the things that you want to let people know who you are. Responsibilities, leader responsibilities. The goal will be for you to be able to meet, I think these are the kind of things we need to implement, is people being able to meet maybe every quarter, to be able to find out how things are going with your group and how could you be supported and things like that, checking in basically. And also in here we talked about training. So if there are training or new materials coming in or things like that, you should be able to attend that. And also if you have online resources also, but also is I added in my own version, it should be the conduit to the leadership. So the church needs to know what is going on, and it's only the life group leaders that knows what is happening on the grassroots. And so you should be like that channel for things to trickle up to the top and people to know what is going on. Leader expectations. I have a lot of bullets here, which I might not read all of them, but I think I just highlighted some of them. So one is you should have a genuine love for people. You have a teachable spirit. You have a servant's heart. Uh, Another one is you should pursue spirit of unity, a positive attitude, and a team spirit. I think that's, in fact, I like this verse of the Bible. Let me get it. If I could find where I wrote it. Sorry, I have a lot of things up here. I'm missing a page. I got it. Sorry. So, if you look at Philippians chapter 2, verse 1 to 2, I like that verse. Um, I use the message translation for it. Philippians 2, verse 1 and 2. It says, if you've gotten anything out of following Christ, if his love has made a difference in your life, if being in a community of the Spirit means anything to you, if you have a heart, if you care, then do me a favor. Agree with one another, love each other, be deep spirited friends. And I think I like the way it talks about, if it's another translation, if there is any comfort, tells you about the great things, but then he says, really do me a favor. One of the things that we need is unity. And in a life group, you need unity. You need to, have cohesion. Being, another translation talks about being of the same spirit. Us being of the same spirit. That harmony. I think that is what a leader should be looking out for. Because again, we are all human beings. We are striving towards being being perfect, but it's a journey. And so sometimes stuff happens. And when stuff happens, how do you deal with that and bring everybody back to the same page? I think that's important work of a leader. Then the other one is create a relaxed atmosphere that encourages bonding of life group members. I think this is very important, that people feel comfortable. I want someone walking into my house and they feel comfortable being in my house. It's like, oh, they don't know where to sit. Do I sit at the edge of the seat? Oh, if I, have you been in homes where it's what should I do? What should I do next? And like you're afraid, you don't know what to do, but someone should come in and just relax and really feel at home. Because again, every other thing flows out of that, of someone being comfortable. I'm comfortable. And then they can share. They could be open. And it's a family. Just like you'll be in your family. You're in PJ most of the day. It's like you're comfortable. So I think it's very important that we create an atmosphere where people are very comfortable. Then it says facilitate discussions, involve members, avoid preaching, dominating meetings. This is super important. You're there to facilitate. You're not there to preach. The Sunday service is enough for everyone, So I personally have a tendency of doing that. And, my wife would always do like this. And when it's getting, she tells me, and I stop. So, but for me, I have to keep that in my mind, because okay, you're trying to facilitate. Nobody's talking. And you say something, and you want it to go around. Nobody says something again. You want to take over. You feel like taking over, but it's that thing you have to keep in your mind. You want to get people involved. You want people to be able to speak. You want, that's I'm a part of this. It's not a time for you to preach. It's a time to facilitate. But again, is that if nobody has something to say, you should have something to say. So that means you come prepared. You know what you have some notes you've taken or something. So you should be able to go in and say something in that regards. Directs the group meetings, monitoring its health and duration, and promote participation among group members. I think that's also very important. I think it's just important for us to understand where you are in your group. Feel the temperature of your group, because that's very important. Even with the materials that you treat, you use. I wouldn't subscribe. Okay, out of the door, you're starting a live group. You just take a very tough topic. One, you don't know the people very well. You guys haven't bonded. You just pick up something like, I don't know what to say. Someone could throw one at me, Just pick up something that is tough. In times or some, So eschatology indeed, So it will be difficult, but as the group grows and you see it is bonding, then there are some elements you could start throwing in. So always you want to monitor what the atmosphere looks like, and because that's very important to know. Okay, where are we at, and things like that. And just to give an example, there's a time in my old live group that we were to have one day. Basically, it was one meeting. The topic that day was on forgiveness. It was meant to have been a one-sitting meeting, or just the 2 hours. But we were on it for like 6 meetings. It was a big deal. There was a lot of people who needed stuff to be dealt with. And so you don't have to rush that. So that's why for me, I am not of the opinion of having semesters with live group. Oh, we need to finish this book by this time. It shouldn't be like that. It's all about making sure that, what is the temperature of your live group? I think that is more important than just going through something. I think it's really very critical in that sense. Share prayer requests with the group. Keep a prayer and praise report journal. Be a good timekeeper. So the other two, it's good to be able to have a note, you write prayer requests. I think it's also important because, how we do it is that we share prayer requests and we all pray about it. Anyone could pray about those things. But what I try to do is to have those prayer requests that I should be able to still pray about them. So you should be able to have that. And also it's good for you to know if you have the prayer requests when they are answered, when they, you should be able to say, it's good to check those things out, isn't it? So it's good to have a journal for praise report, for prayer requests, and be a good timekeeper. In my old life group, they knew me as the guy with the bell, because I always try to tell them, okay, maybe it's fellowship, we are all eating and drinking. I'll come and we had this small bell, and I'll come and ring the bell, and it's like, let's go to the next activity. So you should be able to try to keep time, and especially if it's during a work week, people have work to go to the next day. So there should be a way for you to be able to keep time. So that's why I also do my live group on Fridays, by the way. So on Fridays, nobody's going to work on Saturday. The kids are not going to school on Saturday. There's not so much pressure. And that's me. So what else did I mark here? So keep group information updated in Planning Center. So in Planning Center now, every live group should have more like their own page. So it would be good to be able to know, okay, how many people are coming to the live group? How often are they coming? And those kind of information, is used even on a higher level to know the health of the church. How are the life groups doing? If you have 10 people and only one is coming over and over again, why is only one coming? So some of those are very important. Identify an apprentice and help mentor to become a leader of the future group. So it's important for us. So these are also the things that we're thinking about in every group, to be able to have someone who easily could step in. If the person is not already ready, we have to find a person, in that sense. So, which is very important for us to be able to have that, so that there's continuity. When you're not there, someone else could lead. And also, if the group becomes big and it needs to be divided, the apprentice could go lead a group. And that's how you have multiplication effect of the life groups, which is very important. Then page 7 talks about at least 4 days prior to meeting, remind members via email or text of your meeting. So it's good to remind people that the meeting is coming up and things like that. It's always very helpful to say, hey, this meeting, even though they should know, they know when they meet, they do. But you need to remind. Earlier it's last year. After the summer, I was told, it might be also good for us to get a text the day of the meeting. So I send emails like on a Sunday when we meet on Friday, or a Monday. Then on Friday, I still have to send a text. And they don't come. Sometimes they don't still show up. But you have to do what you have to do, what are the avenues you could use to encourage. Sometimes some people just forget. And when you get that text, so being able to do all that is important. I added this, again, this is version 2.0. Make out time to meet with new members one-on-one. Of late, I had someone who joined my group not too long ago. And obviously with the schedules and all that, it was tough. So this holiday, we had like almost 1 week of holiday. It was good. So it was good to just talk with her and just for her to get to know us, and we got to know her. It was beautiful. And like I could see even in the next meeting just how her involvement just jumped because she felt more comfortable. So being able to get to know people, just, hey, hang out. You could say, but she comes she comes every meeting. Yes, she does. But again, it's connection. It would be good to be able to have that with the person. It becomes very important. Other possible Johnny Life group roles. So you could be a host, just like we talked about, without being a leader. You could be a connector. So if a group is big enough, then you could assign roles. Somebody, you are the connector. You go fishing, kind of thing. So you could have someone who coordinates the prayers, keeps track of prayer reports and praise reports. The food coordinator, some people, food coordinator in this case, if somebody needs, maybe in a group, somebody needs meals or someone is sick, somebody should be able to coordinate, or someone being able to do that and tell people, okay, form up all these invites and be able to say, okay, have a schedule for something like that. So there should be someone doing that. Outreach coordinator if you have an event outside. And of course, also fun and bonding activity. It's good to have something like that. Yeah, this was during the summer. I think Dylan didn't see this coming. So he attends my group, but of late, because of the fact that it's so much farther away, it's a little bit difficult. So, so we decided during the summer just to do fun stuff. I think he didn't anticipate it. He had like 15 kids show up, and like how many adults? Like 12 adults. And like it was just everyone everywhere. But it was fun. But just to have that moment outside and in a different environment and just people have fun. That was great. That was really beautiful. Follow-up process. So it's important for us to be able to follow up. I think as our time goes on, I know in my own church, how people get, if they want to join a life group, is just you have, if you send a mail through through the website, and then it gets to the person, and you're expected within 24 hours or 48 hours to reply and to say, okay, hey, I heard you're interested in that group, and can you come in, and things like that. So making sure that you don't stay, it takes too long before you connect to someone who've shown interest in one way or the other. I think that's important. Number 5, live group meeting order. So this is what we do. We eat, again, and fellowship just. Everyone brings something, and we share. And then we do praise reports or testimonies. People talk about what God is doing in their lives. We have a study material. We share prayer requests. We pray. So that's more like the order. Again, you could tweak some of these things to yourself. Last week wasn't like this. We decided to pray, and that's all we did. It was a meeting that was meant for 2 hours. We ended up staying there for 4 hours. It was awesome. All we did was pray. So again, this is where what do you sense in your spirit? So again, these are not rigid rules, but things to keep in mind. Childcare. So there are different ways. Many people. There are different ways for childcare. There are options. One could be that, if you're coming to my life group, take care of your kids. Another option is bringing the kids along, and then you have a babysitter who stays with the kids. Another option, of course, is that one of the adults takes care of the kids. You take turns to do that. Not all life groups should be child-friendly, and it's okay. Again, I think, please, every leader, if you want to lead a life group, just what is comfortable for you. I think it's really very important. Again, it's open. Some people, it doesn't work for them, and it's okay. And so if you can't have kids in your life group, it's fine. What works for you? So for us, having kids works for us. So what we do is to bring a babysitter who takes care of the kids while we study. It's difficult to have them running all over the place. It doesn't work. So it just doesn't work. So that's what we do. And so we have a babysitter watching the kids. And in a normal situation, the cost should be shared. But as a leader, the babysitter always has to be paid. Just keep that in mind. So like for me, I wouldn't like, where is your money? You didn't pay me. We got a baby. It doesn't work like that. For us, it's part of our monthly budget. Babysitter for life group is in there. If somebody gives me money, I'm fine with it. If not, I'm fine with it too. But again, this is, as a leader, there are some costs associated with it. This is one of them. But if you have a nice way of getting that money from them, please do. I've not figured that out yet. But for me, I leave it to them to be voluntary. Yeah, I leave it to be voluntary, but I have made a budget for that. It's like, okay, it's... Okay. Yeah. But it's what happens. So, and then regarding having life group leaders, what I recommended, what we do is, I could still remember when we started off, and we don't know someone. We just text Lisa, please, can you recommend a babysitter for us? Someone we could trust. So all the babysitters we've ever used, they're all from the church. And by the way, they take care of kids. It's not like somebody who never takes care of kids and you ask them to take care of a kid. So that vetting process, you should have a way of vetting. In fact, in all that is listed here, we live in a real world, by the way, and it's not everybody. We have God, we have Satan. So stuff happens. So it's something you don't want to joke with. You want to make sure that you have. If again, I'm talking about those who have kids in their life group and they want to go through this route. You have to make sure that you have people who will be able to take good care of the kids. 7, multiplying life groups. So, yes. Yeah. That's good. So we take a break. When we come back, we'll look at multiplying life groups. And I think we're almost there. Yeah. We're in a very good place. Yes. Bathroom break, snack time, stretching time. trickle in. All right. Yeah. So 7 multiplying live group, journey live groups. Amen. So the goal will be, just like everything, to reproduce itself is quite important. So it's important also for live groups to multiply. And so I think it would be good if a live group gets to a point where it's too big. What you don't want to lose is that personal touch. That is very important. So when you start losing that personal touch, it's really a time for the live group to split. So again, let's remind ourselves, this is not another church. In parentheses, a big place. All you want is people that does life together. When it becomes too big, then it's going to change the dynamics. It will change the dynamics. And so that's why it's important that, okay, when a live group grows, 14 is more than 14 is too big. In fact, 12 is too big. So when it starts becoming too big, then it might be a good time to split. And then this is where, again, having an apprentice becomes important. Someone who have been with you for a while, then it's easy for the person to start off the next group. In fact, I would think it is also important, even the core people that you have, if they could sprinkle them around in the 2 groups, that helps, because you have the same spirit in the next group, which is important to, especially if it's a good thing. Of course, if it's a bad thing, if it's not working well, that's different. But if it's working well, you want to continue that good thing. And again, it's the people that make it work. That becomes important. So that leads us to life cycle. So you have connecting 1 to 3 months, relationship building 3 to 24 months, prepare to multiply 18 to 24 months, launch a new group 24 months. I wouldn't stick to all this whole thing because it's dynamic. Okay, like again, my group, there's a time we had 12 adults, 16 kids in my group, in Horseheads then. But now we don't have any kid. Now, the best we do now, I think last week we had about 9 people. Okay, I counted myself in too, so so that's 7. 7, myself and my wife. If you add us up, it's 9 people. So it's you have that thing changing, and so those dynamics. So you can't really like put a bucket on these things, but it's just for you to know that there should be stages. But again, if it becomes too big, then there's a need to split. In my old life group, there's a time we had 50 people in a house. 50. I'm not joking. 12 couples, that's 24. And then you had how many kids? 26 kids. It was crazy. So it was like time up. So, but the funny thing is that before you knew it, people come, people go. And before we knew it, we thinned down again. So when we wanted to divide the group, then it thinned down again. So this is where understanding the dynamics, again, in an area like this, that is not in where we live, the DC metro area is very dynamic. A lot is people come, people go. So it's so dynamic that things are changing so rapidly. So, but here I would expect that you don't have that kind of craziness. So, but it's good to know that there should be cycles. But when the group becomes big, if it's more than 10 people or 12, and you find that there's no connection, the connection is getting iffy, it's time to split the group. So selecting an apprentice, identify, invite to apprentice, equip, and train. So one way is, okay, if you're starting a group, if you know someone who could assist you right off the bat, that would be great. But if you don't have someone, you search in the group who can be able to assist you. And then if you find someone, then you could be able to start giving them a little, jobs to do. Some days they lead the whole thing and all that. And gradually two of you are leading that together. Like for me, when I left Maryland, I wasn't worried about my life group. I knew it was okay because the person who took over was doing that with me all the while. So it was like seamless transition. And that's important for you to have someone who you could be able to hand over to, especially if you divide. But here it talks about, make sure you don't make any promises. Because what if your group doesn't grow too big and the person says, I've been looking out to be a leader and so I think the second part of it, invite an apprentice. It talks about also there, okay, you tell the person, okay, what you hope would happen, but also tell the person maybe it will not happen. Making all this, being upfront and letting someone know all that. I think that's important. So that is basically, if it's one of my managers, he says managing expectations. So basically you manage expectations. I think that's very important. Also, the person should be able to have, journey-centered belief system. I know that this is very important because it's not everybody. Somebody can want to run off with their own ideas, and that could be dangerous. I know that again, back in Maryland, the then leader, there was someone, he just, in our group, he just knew that he has different motives. So he never even allowed him to lead at any time. You should be able to sense the people in your group and just to know the spirit that they have and know, okay, who has, who has that right spirit. And that's important. Other resources, number 8. I think this should be page 10. So I'm going to look at signs of a healthy Johnny Life group, and also we're also going to talk about 9 ways to kill a group. So let's talk about the good stuff first. So what are the signs that a life group is healthy? You have a healthy leader. All the 4 key elements of the life group exist. So the 4 key elements is there is connection, there is a discussion, people can share and pray, and you could engage in sense of getting involved in the community. So those are, when you see that happening, that's a good sign. You have balanced participation. It's not someone sucking up all the air in the room, so that everyone feels that their voice is heard and that they matter. Level of authenticity exists from most members, that where people could let down their guard. Again, this doesn't happen in a day. It takes a while. It just takes a while. You could have in a group somebody they will never talk. Even when you nicely ask, hey, what do you think about this? But over time, it's basically like something to talk. They could start coming up. So, it might not go as fast as you want it, but this is where your patience has to come in, as long as you're doing what you should do and you just allow God to do the rest that he should do. So people are learning and growing in the 3 vital relationships. So they are, in essence, they are growing with, in their relationship with God, in their relationship with others, in their relationship with the community. So those are important. Consistent attendance by most members. So people are showing up. Again, there are seasons. You could have a day you don't have someone. And it's okay. It's okay. But if you don't have anyone showing up every day, every time, then there's a problem. I think that is it. So you have a spirit of unity with the I think spirit of unity with Johnny Center and its leaders. So the group is in tune with the leadership. You guys are not swearing off doing your own thing. That is different from what the church desires. No negative, divisive talk or gossips. People, again, as a leader, you need to make sure, just like it is in ministry, is, hey, you hear stuff, you don't go broadcasting it. I mean, people are trusting you with stuff. And so you should be able to make sure that it stays in. And so you don't want to talk about people's life and all that, and that breaks trust right away. And of course, the gossip part of things is something that you don't want to have. Then we go to 9 ways to kill a group. Don't meet regularly. It's important for you to it's good to have a schedule that you run by. Obviously, is it possible that, okay, you can meet for one reason or the other? Yes, there is. But it shouldn't be something very frequent. People plan and all that. They want to know, like already this week, next week is live group. It's registered in their minds. It's not like, are we even going to have live group? And someone says, are you available on Friday evening? Yes, I am. Because they are not sure that next week is going to hold. So that's being able to have a set time and all that, meeting regularly is important. This is also why, for me personally, I don't like, making live group as a semester thing, like you could, or just like the kids now, they were off for 2 weeks, the elementary school people. And then you have, you go off for another 3 months, you go off for 1 month. So, I mean, it's okay during the summer, like you take 1 month off or something like that. Everybody takes a break. But don't make it too long. If it's like 3 months. Because when it's like you're going to rewind everything. It's going to take a lot of energy to start all over again. And some people might not show up again. So you want to make sure that you keep it going. So this is, again, if you want to lead a group, you just have to think about all these things all through, which is important. If you have too few members, of course, some people get discouraged and they say, I'm the only person that comes. But then also, if you have too many members, then the connection is lost. That's a problem too. Also, if you don't deal with problems, I mean, this is life. All of us, that's what the Bible says, we should just make room for each other's faults. It says, it's going to happen. Make room for it. You should have a room, that things happen, but it has to be dealt with. You have to be able to find a way to, if things arise, dealing with them. If you can't deal with them, this is where you should have the leadership, and you bring people in, or you ask for counsel, and how do we deal with this? And so the church is here to support the groups, and so the problems you can't deal with, take it up. So never think you're all alone, and just always, counsel is always important. Ask for wisdom. How do I deal with this problem with, with the leadership? That would help to solve things out. Another way is to allow prayer request time to become storytelling time. So it's sometimes difficult to control. But you need to find a nice way of sipping in, and take control back. Taking control back is the key. So it's not always easy, and you need to find a way to just interject, in a spirit-filled way. But you need to make sure that it doesn't go out of hand. When you don't follow a curriculum, or it's like freestyle, because we all like to have like a structure. So, but again, it doesn't mean you should be held to it. Like I said, last week Friday, all we did was pray. That's all we did. But you have something that you follow. Allow members to bring guests without clearing with other members. Having people show up, like bring like like 5-6 people, and nobody had an idea. Especially if you're not the one hosting, and you just bring in a lot of the hosts. Especially the hosts. Some people are really like meticulous and like planning, like, oh, it's 6 people. They should have the 6 seats, and then like boom, they see 11 people. Is like, so it's good to check in a little bit. Then, of course, ignoring the personal needs of the members. That basically will make people go right away. Never multiply to form a new group. We like what we're comfortable with. If I'm because you have to relearn everything again. You go to another group. I think this is also where it might be important if a group is to split, the core members could also split a little bit because it makes it easier. You have someone to help you out with a new group, and that helps with the dynamic a little bit. Especially ignoring people's needs. I think for me that might just be the biggest of them all. Because if somebody doesn't feel that they are heard or that people care about them, why should they come? So that's important. So I think we've talked. I'll look at more helpful tips. Some helpful tips here, and number 9, and then I think that's most of the things, and we could spend some time for questions. So number 9, some helpful tips for hosts. 1, ensure that you know how to connect your DVD player to the TV. It's simple, but you could waste a lot of time with that, by the way. You need to know that everything is working. The tech guy. You need to know that everything is working before you get there. It's not like you bought a new TV. That's the time you're going to test it out. It doesn't work like that. Start preparing for live group meetings at least 4 days in advance. Plan out the needs to be done and do them in bits. Don't try all the preparation in the meeting day. You guys are flipping pages. You don't have it? I'm on page 11. Okay, it's number 9. Some helpful tips for hosts. Oh, you don't have that? Oh, that's the 2.0. No, the one I'm looking at. So this should be right after number 8, which is other resources. Okay, it's not there. Oh, sorry. Sorry? Okay. It's in a different page in yours. Okay. So, then listen to me. I think it's good for you to not be overworked. Do things in bits. If you're going to get your house ready, why don't you do it in bits? Okay, today is a bathroom, tomorrow is this. And you do that in bits. If not, you get overworked. It's not good for you to be stressed during the meeting. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help any other person. And your mind will not be in the right place. And then he said, keep it simple. Don't try to over-prepare so that you don't get worked up. Again, he says, keep it simple. Don't try to have variety of meals. One is enough. This is the one that myself and my wife, we sometimes have problems with. She would like to have variety. And then she gets worked up. And now it's spreads around. So one of the things now, we have come to agreement with that. We keep it simple. Just one is enough. It's just one. You don't need to. You don't need a 3-course meal. It's not necessary. Just keep it simple. It's just very important. And be more of a Mary than a Martha. You know, it's again. Martha's work was important, feeding 13 guys. That's a lot of work. That's important. But Mary just listening, that was more important than that. So it's finding that balance. So don't get worked up. Start doing things on time. That helps a lot. And then I think I just have few tips. So some tips this will be in the 2.0. Is choose dates, times of the week that works best for you. You know, what works for you? For me, Friday works best for me. It might not work best for you. What day of the week works best for you? Other people will fit into it. It's not you fitting into theirs. You know, that is just very important. What time works for you? So it's just important for you to have that. It's not what someone else wants. That's why I think we should have flexibility. Because if not, if like for me, Thursday will never work for me. It's impossible. You know, so what day works for you? Then I added here, don't put anyone on the spot. So, you know, as people get comfortable, you could like, hey, ask someone something, but know that everybody is different how we interact. There's someone that walk into this place and lights up this place. Like for me, I'm not like that kind of person. I'm more of a one-on-one person, you know. Like, okay, I want to know you, and then I could open up. But there's something, hey, you know. It's not everyone that is like that. So putting someone on the spot might not really go well. Then I added, what you do pre-meeting is more important than the event. So the time you spend praying for your members, calling people up, doing acts of kindness, those are more important than the action itself, the meeting itself. So that preparedness is more important than the event itself. Just like we don't see all that the worship team does to prepare for the worship. We come and say, oh, it's so nice. But there's a lot of work that's gone in the background. And that's the real stuff, by the way. So that's. So I would open for questions. So other things here are like icebreakers, things you could come up with, some of the things you would want to ask questions about. But use a lot of discretion. Even when I'm looking through them, some of them are like, I cancel them. It's because, again, don't put anyone on the spot. You want to do things that are comfortable. Amen. So questions?
Phoenix, if you have any questions too, you can text them to my phone. Who's got questions? What's that? It was thorough.
Are you preparing to publish a Journey Center potluck cookbook?
Hear, hear.
No.
That you can hand out to all new group leaders.
No,
I see that making some revenue. I could see that being a revenue generator for this place.
Oh, I see your business mind kicks in, isn't it? Oh no! But then you need to test it first before. All these recipes. Have you followed the recipe and it worked very well for you?
Pinch of that.
Pinch of that, but it will never taste the same. So you need to test it first before you ask for the recipe.
Got one over here. Laughter doesn't count as a question, but it is good.
Well, they make you laugh after you go to say something. Pull it back a minute. That's a little close.
Well, you got to get close in order to hear it so people can hear you.
I have Arid Extra Dry on. I don't need to be that close.
I'm not gonna.
All right. It's a little intimidating to people that aren't familiar with the planning center. When you hear that you have to put it on the planning center, that's intimidating because all of us aren't familiar with it. Is there going to be training for the planning center? Because for those people that are going to do the groups that aren't planning center equipped, will there be training for that as well?
Yes. So I think yes, there will be training. Basically, with the planning center, is obviously you're going to have an email and you have an account that you could log in and you could go to your group. Basically, all you do there, import. In fact, this is one of the things we started doing. So now, my group and the few groups we've already imported them in, and so all I need to do is that at the end of each meeting, in fact, you get an email to you. Oh, did you have a meeting today? Was it moved? If you held the meeting, how many people came? So you just click on it and you go there and you like, okay, already the faces are there, and you click, and then you go. So it's yes, there will be training, but again, all you need to do is just to put in your attendance in there. So also, I mean, if you have material resources that the group could use, there's a possibility to also attach them there. Sorry?
Who else has a question? What's that?
Learn as you go.
Learn as you go.
We have someone, this is from Phoenix, we have someone curious as to how many people he has in his remaining 2 groups. We have someone curious as to how many people he has in his, meaning, oh, okay, so, because I think you were saying we have 2 groups were currently functioning at one point?
Yes.
So, yeah, how many do we have in each of those?
So, good question. Okay, so in my group now, I don't even know. I could say 7 to 9 people in mine. Marlene, I know she just started off, is about maybe 2. Then you have the Rondels. They've been rolling. I think easily they could have about 8 people or 9. But I know there's a lot of need for live groups. So, but the thing is that this is the dilemma where we are now is, okay, if we make an announcement in church, who wants to join a live group? A lot of people are going to raise their hands, but the groups we have cannot contain all the people. We can't handle all the people. Right. So it's going to be a problem. So this is why now, it is running in the background. Like I still get information of people who wants to join groups. I think I have someone I need to respond to today. It was sent to me, oh, this person wants to be part of a group. And I'll send an email to them and tell them, oh, this is what we have. So, but the goal will be in some few months down the line that we announce of more like, groups that, okay, who wants to join groups and make it really, really wide open. But by then, we should be able to have leaders who want to lead. So that it's not like now, let's say now we have like 50 people say, oh, we want to be members. They can't fit into the 3 that we have. And also with the 3 that we have, I think one of the things personally I'm feeling is now that the groups are much more are more geographical than focused. So like, oh, okay, since I live now in Penny Post, more people in Penny Post come, But it would be good that we have a lot of groups and someone say, okay, this is what is important in my life now. I want to join a women's group. And they go there and it's not too far away for them. Or, oh, what I want is, okay, something related to relationship, marriage or something. Or, okay, being a single. It becomes specific. And so I think the thing is that since we don't have enough, then everything is all muffed up. It's more geographical. But this is where, of course, we want leaders. We want some, people to volunteer to lead. And so if we have more of these options, then the needs of the members will be met exactly what their needs are will be met. Because now you could pick up materials that are tailored towards that. And that becomes much better than, okay, it's like everybody comes together, so kind of thing. So I think this is where we are. So that is where the problem is. So, but the moment we have leaders identified and ready to roll, and we say, okay, we don't need to have, I think starting off now, we don't need to have like 1,000 live groups. I mean, if we have like 8 solid ones, I think it's great. And they could multiply. Sure. Just from the important thing is that commitment, someone is ready to go. It's like, it's a long run. It's not like, okay, tomorrow. Like I said, 1 month, first 1 month, 3 down. 3 down. It's like, for me, it was super discouraging. Like,
that's
yep.
interesting.
Yep.
First thing I think when I hear cell is jail. No, I understand cell connected.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I was like,
Which is true. So there should be that mindset in there. So.
Cool. Any other questions? Hang on 1 second. I want to make sure Phoenix hears your question. You'll be okay, Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
Just need a couple extra seconds.
Thank you. Can single adults, like say myself, because my wife's schedule does not coincide with normal schedules, can I lead a group by myself?
Yes, you can. Why not?
Just as long as you're looking for your apprentice. Did you have a question? Okay.
She has a
That was like a halfway hand going up. Anybody on this side? Yeah, Dottie.
Is it really necessary to do the whole meal thing? Because I find, especially for me, and even the group that I've been a part of, it's like almost too much with the busyness of the schedule of the people that come. And so basically it's been more, if people bring snacks, that's a good thing, but it's not really as formal. And I'm wondering, is there a reason why you feel that that's necessary?
Again, there's no there's no cut and paste kind of thing. If that's what works for you, you could make finger snacks. Why not? So I think the thing is, the whole idea, again, when you look at arts, the shared meals. By the way, most businesses, it's funny that most big deals are signed during dinners. Companies, there's a reason why they take you, they take someone, they want to do business with you, they take you to the best restaurant around, and after you finish eating, you sign the dotted line. So there's something powerful about food, and just, I think the main thing is that sharing is the big part of it. So whatever you could bring to share is fine. It's great, If you can make the meal, but you could have something, at least somebody comes in, somebody could take something and you're talking with the person. Again, I for one, I if you ask me, in my heart is that I don't want things to be rigid, the individualism, individual should be celebrated, who you are and what makes you should be celebrated. So, so that anything that makes you to start sweating about doing this, it's wrong already. So if making snacks, having finger snacks or something works, why not?
Any other questions before we make our last transition? Okay, looks like Phoenix is good too. So I want to just kind of put kind of a capstone on what we've done tonight. First of all, I have the most excitement and anticipation about our pastoral ministry than I have had in the history of our church since I've been here. And the reason I say that is because I've been on multiple leadership teams when we've called them eldership, when we've called them leadership, various leadership teams that we've actually sat around tables for years asking, what's our assimilation process? How do we get people to feel like they're actually connected to each other and to this house? And being a part of, since we transitioned the last leadership team into the current pastoral team, and watching this team systematically, thoughtfully go after the question of who are our people, who are the core, who are the ones that are attending, who are the people that are on the fringes, and how do we make them begin to feel like they're connected? I mean, they are going at this the most thoughtful and like organic process, and they're looking at it from every single angle you could think of. And so I'm more excited than I ever have been because they're deliberately trying to create something that's sustainable. It's not just hang out a shingle and say, who wants to be in a connect group? You know, like, because we found it just doesn't get traction. So I'm super, super pumped for that. Second thing, last thing. If you already know you're in a season of like, I want to start a connect group. All right, so if that's you, like tonight, go ahead, just have the conversation with Chakuti afterward, exchange contact information, you guys can get that process started. If it's something where you're like, I want to, but I really want to wait until after the school year's over because I've just got too much on my plate. Totally good, let them know. That's something that we could look at in May or June. Lastly, the pastoral team is looking to kind of put a formal new launch on Connect Groups come September. So if you're looking for something a little bit longer, need a little bit more time to breathe, that's another option. But if you're gung-ho tonight and you want to get that started, just have the conversation and get the process started. You guys good? Cool. Hallelujah. Sunday and Monday, we got Ben Armstrong coming in from Bethel Church, so we got another exciting week coming. So just keep warring against apathy, and keep digging into whatever the Lord is processing you and challenging you and inviting you into in this season. So, love you guys. See you soon. Everybody take a buddy with you on the way out into the parking lot, just in case it's still icy too. So, do you have your exit buddy? Ask that before you exit the premises. Phoenix, we love you. Be blessed. I hope you guys are less icy than we are right now. So, but based on the fact that where you are, and I grew up in Oswego, that's probably not the case, but I hope it's the case. We love you guys.